I don't really get to stand up for myself. I mean, I have great teammates. I have a great support system. I got my hometown. I got my family that stands up for me. I don't really get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And
Angel Reese is furious right now, and honestly, it's hilarious. She got rejected twice in the same week by two different sets of her so-called fans in two different cities. In Chicago on April 29th, her old fans watched Camila Carter-Doze swat her into a viral moment and barely flinched. Then, a few days later in Atlanta, her supposed new fans couldn't even be bothered to show up to a 30,000-seat arena for her home debut. And the ones who did watched Kiki Irian block her 3 times while Washington's rookies and sophomores won by 11. She told everyone she's the it girl. The reality is she's the never was. No city wants her. Both buildings were empty and she's back to smoking layups. Why do you think Reese made it to the WNBA? Let me know down in the comments below. Angel Reese preseason part 2. Let's get it. So many fans in the stands. It's all filled to the brim to see UMEBOUND. How about it? You can really tell she's been in the lab all off season working on that. Explosiveness. Look right here. She gets almost 2 and off the ground. MEBOUND. Angel Reese spent the entire off season telling anyone who would listen that she was a star, that Chicago never deserved her, and that Atlanta was going to be her fresh start. So when April 29th rolled around and she walked back into Chicago as an Atlanta Dream player, the whole internet leaned in waiting for the revenge game she'd been teasing. She even floated the idea of dropping 50 points on her old Team 50 against a short-handed Sky squad missing Skylar Diggins-Smith, Di Carrington, and Azura Stevens. She had every reason to deliver on that noise. What makes you her? I'm really confident within myself. Nobody can tell me I'm not that girl. I wake up every morning. And now she's in Atlanta. What's Atlanta giving? Atlanta giving black girl magic. It's giving culture. It's giving lemon pepper wings. It's giving Atlanta dream. It's giving everything. So I'm really happy to be in Atlanta and make sure y'all come out and pub you. You're going to see me at a game. Best believe. Last question. Are you the art or the artist tonight? I'm both. I'm the art artist. I'm that girl. Okay. But before the game even tipped off, she ducked the pregame media availability entirely. This is a player who'd been extremely loud all off-season on podcasts, on social media, in interviews, you name it. But the moment a microphone appeared before a game that actually mattered to her narrative, she vanished. And this wasn't out of nowhere either, because she'd already admitted on a podcast that she'd rather take a fine than talk to the press if her back was against the wall, since she felt her words always got flipped. So she walked into her old building, said nothing, and let the game speak for her. Unfortunately for Reese, the game absolutely did speak. Angel Reese preseason basketball. We're back, baby. 3 ball, you want some? Come get some. Bang. I heard SHEGOT traded for a used jockstrap and a dirty diaper. New team, same layup package. Bang. How about the EYBALS? You know what they say, free throws ain't free. How about IT? Bang. They say second time's a charm. Bang. No, it's not. How about the third time? All right, fine. The fourth one will go in. Flick that wrist. Spin that ball. WIGGITY bang. SHEMISSEDLAYUPS. Not contested pull-up jumpers or tough angles under pressure. Just layups. The kind of shots that go in automatically at every level of basketball. Fans online were pointing out that she launches them from her hip instead of going up strong. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Oh yeah, favorite possession right here. Jam, nah, not ready, not ready. Hands a little slippery. Had too much popcorn with butter. But butter pecan. How many times I got to tell you only 3 things in life are certain. Death, taxes, and Angel Reese smoking LAMPS. Baby. Give me all that. Then Camila Carter-Doze, the center Chicago chose to build around after trading Reese away, stepped into the paint and blocked her clean. Picture this. Ray's drives, goes up, and Cardoso just takes the ball like she's collecting something that was always hers, reading the move before Ree even finished making it and rejecting it flat. No scramble, no luck, just a clean basketball read. The clip spread everywhere immediately. The fans who showed up weren't grieving Reese's departure or welcoming her back. With complicated feelings, they were rooting against her, and the building carried that energy the whole game. Atlanta, close to full strength, lost 87-78 to a Sky team that rested most of its real rotation. That's not a box score that supports any revenge narrative. Take a look at all the empty seats. Watch for yourself. Angel Ree was shooting a three in way of the passing lane, forces the turnover, calls her own number. That was highly, and she fouled out of the Angel Reese, doing some on the defensive. Glass opportunity to return home to Chicago, and now this leak in year 12 blocks the Ray Angel with the rebound. After the final buzzer, Reese sat at the podium and actually laughed at the Chicago Sky despite shooting 29% from the field. That press conference clip circulated more than any play she made all night, which pretty much tells you everything about the gap between her performance and her personality. The fans online didn't fire back at her with anger or frustration. They just laughed. Right along with her, except they were laughing at her. And she boarded a flight to Atlanta, apparently thinking a home crowd would solve all of this. Gateway Center Arena in College Park, Georgia, holds 3,000 people. Not 15,000, not 10,000, 3,000, which is fewer people than you'd find at a decent high school football game in Texas on a Friday night. And for Angel Reese's home debut as an Atlanta Dream player on May 3rd, a big chunk of those 3,000 seats sat empty. I think this is fantastic for Atlanta. For visibility. I meant it when I said Atlanta's going to be lit, not just on the court but off the court. They do a great job at the Gateway Center of selling out tickets, but like they're going to be able to move games to State Farm Arena where the Hawks play now because of the Angel Reese effect. The what? Come again. The Angel Reese effect. What in the hell is the Angel Reese effect? Let's talk about what that actually means for someone who'd spent 2 full years telling the world she's the ITG girl of women's basketball, the one who moves culture, sells tickets, and puts bodies in seats. That's not a small claim, and a 3,000-seat arena in College Park is not a tough room to fill. The Washington Mystics came to town without Shakira Austin, their veteran center, which meant Atlanta faced a Mystic squad leaning heavily on rookies and second-year players. A full-strength dream team at home against a depleted visiting roster should have been the easiest sell imaginable. But the cameras told a different story, and you could see it clearly. Rows and rows of empty seats in a building that doesn't even need to move 5 figures worth of tickets to look packed. Compare that to Caitlin Clark, because the comparison writes itself. Indiana Fever games sell out. Road games sell out because Clark's on the visiting roster and opposing fans want to watch her play. That's drawing power attached to winning, to product people trust, to someone whose presence on the floor actually changes what the team does. Clark doesn't claim to sell tickets, she just does it. And the numbers back her up every single time. Last weekend, Caitlin Clark was in New York City to play the New York Lesbians. Over 14,000 people paid to see the Great White Hope. If I remember correctly, another 700,000 watched Caitlin Clark on TV. Unfortunately for Angel Ree, the citizens of Chicago, they were not the only ones who were unwilling to welcome her home. Her former teammate, Camila Cardoso, she welcomed Angel Ree home by dominating the queen of stat padding on the court. Reese's brand never worked that way, and 2 years in Chicago proved it. The Sky finished 13-27 in her rookie season, then dropped to 10-34 in year 2. Worse record, same star, same noise, same missing playoffs. Her personal stats kept climbing while the team kept losing. So the stats existed in a completely separate universe from the wins column, and fans eventually noticed. So when Atlanta fans looked at their options for May 3rd, they already knew the track record. They didn't need to wait and see because Chicago already ran that experiment twice and published the results. An 11-point loss to Washington's young roster at home in front of a half-empty 30,000-seat building isn't a fluke or a bad night. That's a pattern finishing a sentence it started 2 years ago in Chicago. Let's go wants to see if his defense improves and that 7-2 run is behind. Oh, my ball was blocked into the hand. Had multiple allers on a team that were rookies. Okay. 1999 season for the oh my goodness. We've been talking about the big on bigs inside an area of getting hit on the inside. Double team. Horrible hoops. Horrible hoops. The Mystics walked out of College Park with a comfortable win, led by players most casual fans couldn't name without checking a roster, and the attendance and the scoreboard basically told the same story from two different angles. Meanwhile, back in Chicago, something genuinely interesting started happening the second Reese's trade processed, and it has everything to do with who suddenly wanted to play there. Let's talk about what actually happened on the court May 3rd because the scoreboard just printed the final number, and the details underneath it are genuinely rough if you're an Atlanta Dream fan who bought into the hype. Kiki Iran isn't a household name yet. She's a second-year player still earning her reputation. So, when she walked into Atlanta and blocked Angel Reese 3 times in a single game, that's not a veteran shutting down a young player. That's a supposedly elite player getting embarrassed by someone most fans couldn't pick out of a lineup 2 weeks ago. He's got this nasty trick shot where SHE hit fire slabs from 2 feet away like that. That shot is her bread and butter. But butter. Her form is cooked. That ball is so far away it's in another solar system. Maybe. She makes it. Nope. Checking on her boyfriend WNDLLSHARTERJR. Detroit fans chatting. Angel RINGS. 2 beans in a pod, Mr. and Mrs. Brick B no. Someone tell her there's not an incentive in your contract that pays you more money for missing layups. That's a PREUP. I WNTED to see a baby giraffe try to play Twister. I go to the circus. What is that? The first block was bad. The second one made people rewind their screens. By the third, the clip editors were already cutting it together because 3 blocks on the same player in one game isn't a coincidence, it's a diagnosis. Reese shoots from her hip, launching the ball instead of going up strong through contact. And that mechanic gets exposed every single time she runs into a defender who reads it early. Irifan, who's listed at the same 63 in as Reese, read it every time. After one of those blocks sent Reese to the floor, Reese stood up, stared at Irifan and slow clapped 3 times, which the internet immediately identified as someone trying to save face while losing it, want to position her body, put the ball on the to go in. 8 on the shot clock. An inside touch to Lauren Betts standing at 7 and able to finish over the outstretched hands. Bruin on brewing violence. Lauren out of Ole Miss spent her first 3 seasons out of Ohio State. One of the 3 players that were picked for the Mystics in the first round in the draft as Lauren Betts with another bucket. That's going to be a problem. We're seeing pulls up top of the key in and out with a rebound and a quick dish to Betts. Lauren Betts finished with 17 points and made Reese look completely lost in the paint, which is genuinely the worst possible place for Reese to struggle because interior presence is supposed to be her entire identity. Betts drew fouls, scored at will, and Reese couldn't stay in front of her or contest cleanly without fouling out. People were calling Betts the most dominant player on the floor that night, and that's a rookie. In her first preseason game on the road against a player who'd been promoting herself as Atlanta's new cornerstone all-off season. Reese also bowled over Georgia Amare for a foul, missed a string of shots, and spent a stretch of the game arguing with the officials after a block instead of sprinting back on defense. That behavior, the complaining, the slow clapping, the body language reporters were calling out is exactly what Chicago's locker room reportedly exhaled when the trade processed. Angela Reese 9 for Lauren Betts. They're guarding one another. Kiki in on the action and kisses in chemistry with Ryan Howard back door. Olsen finishes season up till today. That 3 has been smooth. 6 points as Lauren Betts. The midi is good. Michaela Anu and Shakira Austin out. Lauren Betts with the touch on the block and she is making Lauren Betts got Indian Navarre in the air. And Atlanta's coach Carl Smisko talked after the game about experimenting with lineups and working on bench development, which is what coaches say when the film they watched wasn't what they drew up. 2 games into her tenure, and the coaching staff's already in adjustment mode. Remember that post-game press conference 4 days earlier where Reese laughed at the Chicago Sky despite shooting 29%? The basketball internet laughed right back at her when Ian's third block started trending, and nobody needed to say a word out loud because the clip handled all of it. While Reese was busy getting blocked in 2 different cities, Chicago quietly became one of the more interesting rosters in the league, and it happened almost the second her trade processed. For 2 years, the story around the Sky was that nobody wanted to play there, that the city was cold to women's basketball, that the organization couldn't attract real talent. Reese was always framed as the one thing keeping the franchise from total irrelevance despite the losing. That story aged badly in about 4 months. The truth is, Angel Reese has never been a star basketball player. I'm not saying she's the drizzling shits, but Angel Reese has never been a star and she has never been a winner in her brief WNBA career. Angel Reese is the queen of empty stats. She's one of the best players in the league in garbage time. When the Chicago Bravado were down 30 points with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Angel Reese knows it's time to clock in and start dominating. Here's where it gets interesting. Skylar Diggins Smith, a 7-time All-Star, signed with Chicago. DJ John I. Carrington, who won Most Improved Player and made the All-Defensive First Team in 2024, signed with Chicago. Azura Stevens, a veteran with championship experience, signed with Chicago. The Sky then traded for Rickea Jackson, an electric young scorer who immediately asked for Reese's old number 5 jersey, the same number she wore in high school and at Mississippi State. Reese's fans online demanded the number get retired, but jersey retirement's in. Professional sports go to players who deliver playoff runs and championships, and Reese delivered 2 straight playoff misses and a record that dropped from 13 and 27 to 10 and 34 in back-to-back seasons. Jackson's wearing number 5 now, and nobody in the Chicago front office lost sleep over it. So the nobody wants to play in Chicago narrative was never really about Chicago. 4 proven players looked at the Sky roster without Reese and decided that's exactly where they wanted to be, which tells you pretty clearly what the actual problem was during those 2 years. You know, the dynasty starts after you, not with you. Chicago Sky to Angel Reese. Woo, I told you that AR disease ran deep. Nobody wanted to play with that. That is wild. Now, flip to Indiana because Caitlin Clark arrived in 2024 and the Fever's trajectory just went up and kept going. Playoff appearance in her rookie season after the team previously held one of the worst records in the league. Players like Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hull committed to Indiana because the environment produced wins. The system worked for everyone on the floor, and Clark's gravity created better shots and better opportunities for the players around her. Indiana became a place people wanted to go because being there meant actually winning basketball games, and free agents noticed. Reese's 2 years in Chicago produced the exact opposite environment. The locker room tightened, the record dropped, and players reportedly exhaled when the trade finally cleared. The Sky new roster runs on spacing, ball movement, and defensive versatility, which are all things Reese couldn't give them since she won't shoot threes and her defensive range doesn't fit a modern system. Chicago didn't just move on from Reese, they built something that fits the way the league actually plays right now. And Atlanta inherited a player whose old team is already looking like the team that won the trade. They traded away Angel Reese and then said, "We're going in. We're going in. Right here, right now." Had to get her off the team to get these players to come here. 2 games. That's all it took for the gap between Angel Reese's brand and Angel Reese's basketball to become impossible to ignore. And the preseason isn't even finished yet. She's got a Cardoso block, 3 Erofin blocks, a 29% shooting night she laughed off at the podium, an 11-point home loss to a Mystics team built around rookies, and attendance numbers that would embarrass a minor league hockey team in a city that doesn't care about hockey. That's the to-im resume of the self-proclaimed it girl of women's basketball. Atlanta took a real risk trading for Reese, and Coach Smemesco's already talking about lineup experiments and positional flexibility 2 games into the relationship. That's not normal preseason tinkering language. That's a coaching staff already in adjustment mode trying to figure out how to build something functional around a player whose skill set keeps creating problems instead of solving them. And the problems aren't small ones either, because Reese won't shoot threes. Her defensive range doesn't cover modern forwards, and her finishing at the rim keeps getting rejected by players who read her mechanics before she even leaves the floor. And that speaks exactly to both what you were saying and Pat was telling us coming back from the break. Carl Smiko wants to see if his defense improves, and that 7-2 run is behind the defense, and she also again added this to her bat. Atlanta runs a space and pace system, right? That system needs shooters spread across the floor so the paint stays open and drives actually work. Reese doesn't stretch the floor, which means defenses can collapse into the paint every time she touches it, and that collapses the whole offense around her. Smiko won a bunch of national championships at Florida GF Coast running exactly this kind of system, so he knows what fits and what doesn't. And 2 games and he's already experimenting, which tells you something about how the film room conversations are going right now. Chicago, meanwhile, looks like a team that just dropped 100 pounds off its back. Skylar Diggins-Smith, John I. Carrington, Azura Stevens, Rickea Jackson, and Camilla Carterdo on the same roster. All of them choosing Chicago after 2 years of the nobody wants to play their narrative. They all chose Chicago after Reese left, which isn't a coincidence, it's a verdict. The Sky new roster spaces the floor, moves the ball, and fits the way the league actually plays in 2025. And they built it without bending the system around one interior player who can't step outside the paint. This is going to get real ugly for you-know-who. Get out, get out. She got all kinds of ball on Angel Reese, but that wasn't even the worst one. Angel ended up getting all up in her feelings here. Oh, she gets mad. Oh yeah, you got the blocked out of you. I mean, come on. Caitlin Clark never called herself the it girl. She didn't need to, because the Fever's attendance numbers, their playoff appearance in her rookie season, and the free agents choosing Indiana all said it without her opening her mouth. Players want to play with Clark because playing with her produces wins, and wins produce everything else. Better contracts, more exposure, playoff experience, all of it. That's a brand built on results, and results don't need a podcast tour to stay relevant. Reese's brand always needed the noise because the results kept coming up short. 2 years, too. Playoff misses, a record that dropped from 13 and 27 to 10 and 34, and a Chicago locker room that reportedly exhaled when the trade cleared. Now she's in Atlanta, 2 games into a fresh start, and the fresh start looks a lot like the old situation. Empty seats, viral blocks, and a coaching staff already problem-solving on the fly. Reese was supposed to fill with fans and fill with wins. Neither of those things happened, and the season hasn't even started yet. Why do you think Reese made it to the WNBA? Let me know down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen and we will see you in the next.